Hello and welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network on a very snowy day in the federal city. In fact, there was a large red fox that ran across the lawn of the White House just moments ago. But right here in Auburn, Alabama, I have not seen any wildlife this morning, but I am Robert McNeely, always a joy to be with you at the live desk here as we cover the latest from the Trump White House. As Christmas time really in full swing, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump celebrating with the national tree lighting ceremony just yesterday, and the president invoking the reason for the season, Jesus Christ and his birth, ultimately to go on mission and to sacrifice himself so that us mere mortals can join him in his heavenly kingdom. That's what it's all about this Advent season leading into Christmas, and with Hanukkah just days away, it really truly is the most beautiful time of the year. Season's greetings to everyone as we continue to cover what is the golden age in America. President Trump very busy today as well at the FIFA World Cup ceremonies with the inaugural Peace Award granted to him by the president of FIFA, also joined by the Prime Minister of Canada and President of Mexico for those first round draws for the tournament next year. That will truly be a highlight for Atlanta, Georgia, New Jersey, and other host sites, including the whole of North America, as we welcome the world in this peaceful gathering for one of the most popular sports abroad, especially in Europe and South America. But coming here to the United States, it's sure to be a star-studded event. We'll take you there to that red carpet earlier today, and also the ceremonies at the Kennedy Center. But first, it's not Christmas without the First Lady and her office doing a wonderful job for the decorations and the theme of home is where the heart is. First Lady Melania Trump this morning joining those young folks and great citizens of this country and Santa and Mrs. Claus to tell the story of what they're up to at the North Pole as they get ready for what's sure to be a very busy Christmas season.
Good morning. So thank you so much, Kayleen, for a beautiful introduction, and thank you, Faith and Riley. You all look beautiful. Thank you for having me here. Hello, Santa and Mrs. Claus. So today I will read the book, How Does Santa Go Down the Chimney? How does Santa do it? How does it work? Does he cinch up his belt or shrink himself down to the size of a mouse? Or stretch out like taffy and step in one leg at a time? Maybe Santa can turn into fire, but probably not. Does he go head first, or feet first, or neither? Does Santa ever get stuck partway down and need one of the reindeer to give him a kick? Does his suit get sooty because chimney have soot? And then, does Santa do laundry before he goes to the next house? And if you don't have a chimney, what happens then? Maybe Santa knows about the key under the flower pot, even thought nobody's ever supposed to mention the key under the flower pot. So how would he find out about that? Does he flatten himself and slide under your door? Or does he slip through the pipes and come out of your faucet? Or if you have got a mail slot, I bet Santa folds up like a letter and has a reindeer pop him through. And I bet the stamp on Santa is one of those Santa stamps too. Dogs must like Santa very much, or else they bark. He probably carries treats in his pocket and knows just where every dog likes to be scratched. He tells them they're good and whispers them names, which he knows without even looking at their collars. I bet he lets them give him kisses right on his beard, if they're kind of dogs that like to lick. Can Santa see in the dark? Does he wear night vision goggles that make everything green? I bet he'd like that because Santa likes green. Or heat vision goggles because he might like red better. Should we leave out carrots, not cookies, on Christmas Eve, since they're good for his eyesight? No, the twinkling lights on the tree will make enough light for Santa to see, tiptoeing past chairs without bumping his knee, to leave a present or two or three, and get a kiss from the dog, if it's a dog that licks, and take a cookie or two or three, and then leave. Santa goes up the chimney the same way he comes down, and I have no idea how Santa does that. But I'm so glad he can. Thank you. I'm sure Santa will visit all of you this Christmas and bring you a lot of toys. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I wish you a lot of strength and love. My husband, President, is sending love and best wishes as well. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you to the First Lady of the United States. Mrs. Trump, thank you so much. We are so honored to continue with this long-standing tradition at Children's National, and we're so honored to have you here today. Thank you for spending time with us today and sharing joy and cheer. And we are so appreciative of your partnership and your commitment to children's health and hope. So on behalf of Children's National and everyone here today, we wish you happy holidays. Thank you.
A heartwarming way to start the broadcast, and our First Lady truly has that heart of gold, hugging those children there and sharing in the Christmas magic and joy that we will all experience just 20 days from now through this season that reminds us about what matters most as we cover the latest from the Trump White House. The holidays bring family, food, joy, fun, and all of the above, but sometimes it brings a few germs along the way. So allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, protecting you with 10% off of your must-have medications this holiday season. Use code RSBN10. That's RSBN10 for that 10% off mark. Scan the QR code there. That's why smart families turn to the online leading all-family pharmacy. They make it easy and safe to be prepared and healthy this holiday season. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN for over 300 different medications, including emergency medical kits to Tamiflu, antibiotics, antivirals, also ivermectin, NAD+, methylene blue, just to name a few. And that hydrochloroquine, that might be good as well for you. Whether you need those or others, 300 plus essential medications that you can have in your medicine cabinet or take on the road with you as you travel to see loved ones. Now, they're focused on most favored nation status and the right to try, just as this administration is. In addition to that, generics, the right to try all family pharmacy generics online in real time to your door in a few days after being reviewed by a U.S. licensed doctor. Some pharmacies don't have these things available, nor will they prescribe them. But many of these medications out for years, in fact, being approved by the FDA over or nearly a half century ago. So allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, 10% off now for off-label generics that can help save your life and protect you from the germs this season. Monetary gold, a great way for wealth security preservation and to diversify your savings, your retirement, your pensions into tangible gold and silver. We know in the last 2 decades, the dollar losing 40% of its value and purchasing power. That's a scary thing to think about as 2 banks alone failed this year, 500 nearly under the Barack Hussein Obama administration. So grab that complimentary presidential gold guide today. Do not delay. Call 888-617-7994. Ask how you can eliminate those annual IRA fees for life. Sometimes they prevent you from looking at these options. With gold nearly over $5,000 an ounce, silver not far behind at $60 an ounce. It's a bull market. It continues to grow. In less than a calendar year, gold and silver have skyrocketed in wealth and value. RSBNforthegold.com. Call immediately to discover how you can turn these assets into new properties or generational wealth, or simply diversifying with a plan that does not fit to households necessarily. Give them a call today. Scott Cheney and the great team over there, the senior portfolio manager who we talk to on a regular basis, will give you some great options on how you can put this as part of your savings and retirement. RSBNforthegold.com. Monetary gold, the best in the business. Thank you for your sponsorship on the right side of history. So as the First Lady, Melania Trump, speaking to the kids over at Children's National, along with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, as everyone gears up for this festive holiday season to the music of Going for a Sleigh Ride, one of my personal favorites this Christmas time. We saw that the snow has hit the ground in the federal city, but that did not stop President Trump from visiting the Kennedy Center to kick off the FIFA celebrations alongside a gorgeous red carpet.
Mr. President, the U.S. press.
Thank you, everybody, very much. It's a great honor. This has been an honor for a lot of reasons. Number one, they've sold more tickets than any event has ever sold already, long before the kickoff. And number two, we've done a lot of work at the Kennedy Center. It was falling apart, and now it's pretty much back, and we'll get it back within the next 4 or 5 months through construction. But you see the way it looks, and Johnny's just telling me, who's done an incredible job, by the way. He's just telling how good a job we've done. You can look at the walls. The marble was broken. Everything was a mess, and we've really taken the Kennedy. So a lot of people thought it was going to be ripped down, and we did just the opposite. So we've done a really great renovation job on it, and over the next 3-4 months it'll be complete, and we're honored to have it here, and it's been very special. We've set a record on ticket sales, as you probably heard already, even long before the event itself, and we're working with Canada and we're working with Mexico, and it's been a really spectacular. So far, it's been spectacular. Daniel, do you have a question?
What are your expectations? You once said that the FIFA World Cup was an opportunity to put, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to put the greatness of the United States on display.
Well,
1 billion eyeballs will be watching, Mr. President.
Yeah, I think even today I understand. I hear that, I know we're a little late to get in there, but it's okay.
They wait.
So are my friends. I guess they have to wait then.
Yeah, they wait.
But no, the numbers are incredible. I hear today's numbers are very big. I hope CNN is covering
Today 1 billion eyeballs.
Today's numbers are very, very big.
You're expected to get the FIFA Peace Prize, Mr. President. What would you say to people who say that prize might conflict with your pledge to strike Venezuela?
Well, I think the Peace Prize, I settled 8 wars. I don't know that I'm getting it. I haven't been officially noticed. I've been hearing about a Peace Prize, and I'm here to represent our country in a different sense. But I can tell you I did settle 8 wars, and we have a 9th coming, which nobody's ever done before. But I want to really save lives. I don't need prizes. I need to save lives, and we're saving a lot of lives. I've saved millions and millions of lives, and that's really what I want to do. And I also want to run a great country. And the United States right now is the hottest country anywhere in the world. And 1 year ago it was dead. We had a dead country, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Will you discuss Canada and Mexico, Mr. But what are you going to discuss with the leaders?
Well, we're going to meet with both, and we're getting along very well. We're getting along very well. I don't know. I think we have a meeting set up for sometime after the event.
Will you discuss trade?
Yeah, we'll discuss trade. We get along very well. Thank you, everybody.
Will you
pardon any other Honduran officials?
Do you want them to keep trying to indict Tish James?
Thank you, press. Let's go. All the travel pool, we're going to go right behind this black curtain.
President Trump speaking with media there in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center, along with the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, who is an Italian-Swiss administrator for soccer in the FIFA League. So we're very excited to host this here in the United States next year. And President Trump joined by the President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, and also the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, as North America holds host to these games, which will be centered in the great Peach State right next door, Atlanta, Georgia, to host some of the main events, and also throughout the country, including the Garden State of New Jersey, some of the other sites to be announced as we look forward to what's set to be a grand competition. And then President Infantino also awarding President Trump this inaugural FIFA Peace Prize, as he mentioned there to the White House press pool that he has solved 8 wars in his tenure, that number 9 between Russia and Ukraine, God willing, will come to an end very, very soon. As Secretary of State Marco Rubio continuing to work on that. Rick Grinnell also with President Trump, who is heading up the reforms and the rebuilding of a new and improved Kennedy Center that President Trump said will be fully complete within the next 4 to 5 months. It's a wonderful location to enjoy the arts and entertainment and all that this amazing country has to offer, all honoring our 35th president of the United States. And we'll take you inside of the auditorium there at the Kennedy Center to continue with the program that took place just moments ago.
Mr. President, this is your prize. This is your Peace Prize.
there is also a beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go.
Right now.
Okay, let me hold. Fantastic. Excellent. And you will receive also, of course, a certificate which reads out, and I would read it out with your permission, what are the reasons for you receiving this FIFA Peace Prize. Football unites the world. So the FIFA Peace Prize is presented annually on behalf of the billions of football-loving people from around the world to a distinguished individual who exemplifies an unwavering commitment to advancing peace and unity throughout the world through their notable leadership and action. And therefore, FIFA, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, awards the 2025 FIFA Peace Prize, Football Unites the World, to Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, in recognition of his exceptional and extraordinary actions to promote peace and unity around the world. Friday, December 5th, 2025. This is the certificate. It's yours. Before giving you the floor, Mr. President, if I may say two words. Like everyone here in the room, we see images of war all over the world. And like everyone, we suffer for every child that dies. We cry with every mother that loses someone she loves. And we want to see hope. We want to see unity. We want to see a future. And I was lucky, Mr. President, to witness a few years ago the Abraham Accord signatures. A few months ago in Sharm el-Sheikh, the peace in the Middle East agreement regarding Gaza. I was in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur for the peace between Cambodia and Thailand. Yesterday here in Washington, the Washington Peace Agreement between Rwanda and the DRC. Well, this is what we want from a leader that cares about the people. We want to live in a safe world, in a safe environment. We want to unite. That's what we do here today. That's what we'll do at the World Cup, Mr. President. And you definitely deserve the first FIFA Peace Prize for your action, for what you have obtained in your way, but you obtained it in an incredible way. And you can always count, Mr. President, on my support, on the support of the entire football community or soccer community to help you make peace and make the world prosper all over the world. Thank you very much, Mr. President. The floor is all yours. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. This is truly one of the great honors of my life. And beyond awards, Johnny and I were discussing this. We saved millions and millions of lives. The Congo, as an example, over 10 million people killed, and it was heading for another 10 million very quickly. And it just, you know, the fact that we could do that, India, Pakistan, so many different wars that we're able to end, in some cases a little bit before they started, just right before they started. It was going to be late, but we got them done, and it's such an honor to be with Johnny. I've known Johnny for so long. He's done such an incredible job, and I have to tell you, you've set new records on ticket sales, and not to bring that up, because we don't want to bring a thing like that up right now, but it's an awfully nice tribute to you and to the game of football, or as we call it, soccer, but football, and that is an amazing thing. The numbers are beyond any numbers that anybody, even beyond what Johnny thought was possible. I want to thank, by the way, my family, my great First Lady, Melania. You're right here, and thank you very much. And I think you're going to have an event the likes of which maybe the world has never seen. Based on the enthusiasm that I've seen, I have never seen anything like it. We've had a tremendous working relationship with Canada. We have our Prime Minister of Canada there, and we have our President of Mexico. And we've worked closely with those two countries, and the coordination and friendship and relationship has been outstanding, and I want to thank you both very much, and your countries very much. But most importantly, I just want to thank everybody. The world is a safer place now. The United States 1 year ago was not doing too well, and now I have to say we're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we're going to keep it that way. Thank you all. Thank you. Have a great time. And Johnny, a tremendous honor. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Thank you so much.
The Peace President being celebrated worldwide right here at home. Thank you, Mr. President, for your efforts to bring peace to the world and to celebrate this 2026 FIFA tournament that's sure to be second to none. As we thank angelpaste.com, one of the best out there. I use this miracle cream, vitamin B infused, non-GMO, non-chemical, especially this time of year as you get some wonky temperatures. It's pretty cold out there. It's been nice and rainy this week in the loveliest village on the plains. And with that, sometimes the humidity goes up, but those temperatures really stay low and can bring in some of that drier air as well. So it makes for a really bad combo at times. And thank God that Angel Paste is right there to take care of your skin's needs, especially the orange option infused with vitamin C. Again, non-GMO, no chemicals, so it's an extra boost of Maha, making America healthy again, while you make sure to watch out for all those germs that come with this wonderful season. Also, the natural facial spray that you can use on the first date to the 50th wedding anniversary to spritz the evening and paint the town red. Experience the miracle that is angelpaste.com with their wonderful products. They are Christian-owned. They're based in Spring, Texas, right off of the Gulf of America. It's angelpaste.com. Now, all gut health really can translate to overall health, and covepure.com/RSBN is protecting you and your family members this season with a holiday sale. $250 off right now. And you can see right there in the video, this is the leader of reverse osmosis systems with their ClearWave technology, removing 99.9% of the chemicals, fluorides, agricultural runoff, and hormone-disrupting blockers like birth control out of the water, because those water treatment centers don't get everything quite like this great machine does. It's no bigger than your coffee maker on your kitchen counter, and Cove Pure is not like the clunky industrial machines that you find elsewhere. In fact, if you're renting especially, there's no need for tubes or drilling holes or putting it under the sink and out of sight. It literally is sitting on the top of your counter or perhaps in your den. Protect what matters most and drink pure, live pure with covepure.com/RSBN. JAMA Pediatrics did a really frightening study actually with their scientists that children or students drinking out of the tap water on a regular basis can lose 2 or more points of their IQ. With all that COVID learning loss, we don't need any more with terrible tap water. So make sure that you purify it. And what's great about this machine as well, you can actually turn the temperature up to hot, cold, warm, lukewarm, whatever you'd like instantly. So if you're a tea drinker, you don't have to wait for it to heat up like you normally would. covepure.com/RSBN. A great gift for those, especially those that are hard to shop for out there during the Christmas season. And thank you to mypillow.com/RSBN. Merry Christmas. Save up to 80%, 80 this holiday season with 2,000 products from Mr. Mike Lindell himself in his Minnesota factories and manufacturing plants in the great state of Minnesota. Support Mike Lindell and Right Side Broadcasting Network. Shop now at mypillow.com/RSBN. With a programming note, after we conclude our original content show today at 4 o'clock, Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled, because at 4:15, a special edition of The Voice of Reason, featuring none other than Mike Lindell himself, as we get ready for more of the Christmas season and the latest news from the Trump White House. President Trump, right after accepting that inaugural Peace Prize from FIFA and their foundation, enjoyed the selection round with the President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, and the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, as all three of our nations within North America working closely together to not only make America great again, but make this entire continent great again. And although there's some differences with our friends of the South and the North, President Trump has a way of working very well regardless of political ideology, especially with those foreign dignitaries and leaders, especially now as we play back from moments ago the selection process to get FIFA kicked off.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, you can go behind, huh?
Behind, yes. Y ahora la presidenta de México, Claudia Sheinbaum.
Thank you, Jen.
Buenas noches. Por favor, al lado del primer ministro. And now, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, this way, this way. Oh, this way. Well, you can do what you want. This is your place. Okay. So, this is the World Cup trophy. This is the official ball for the World Cup. And we are now going to do the draw, ladies and gentlemen. But before that, as is customary, there is always a question that the moderator asks the draw assistant. So I would like to start with Mr. Carney. How big a deal is it to co-host the World Cup for Canada? Oh. Difficult question, I know, but...
It is the biggest of deals, Gianni. You know, it's the #1 sport for Canadian boys and girls. 2/3 of the country watched the last World Cup. And we are partnered with the United States and Mexico, welcoming the world. There's more than 200 nationalities in Canada, more than 200 nationalities in FIFA. The top 48 are coming to North America. It is going to be the biggest deal ever.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Presidenta Sheinbaum, la Copa Mundial de la FIFA 2026 será el evento deportivo más grande de la historia y México hará historia al convertirse en el único país en albergar 3 ediciones del torneo. ¿Qué significado tiene esto para las y los mexicanos?
Bueno, estamos orgullosos, orgullosas de recibir por tercera vez la Copa Mundial. México es un país extraordinario, bello, mágico, y millones visitarán nuestra nación. Además, quiero decirles que tenemos un pueblo extraordinario, trabajador y algo especial. Nosotros disfrutamos del juego de pelota desde tiempos ancestrales.
Fenomenal. Gracias. Mr. President, President Trump, next summer is historic for the United States in more than one way. What does it mean to you that the FIFA World Cup is actually taking place in the United States 250th birthday? Special.
Well, for years, Johnny, they've thought soccer or football would be so big, so fast. And I remember, I shouldn't say this because it was a long time ago, but I remember watching Pelé play on a team called the Cosmos. Pelé, who was fantastic, as you know, I assume one of the greats.
Oh, yes.
And,
Pelé. Let's applaud Pelé, please. One of the greatest.
And he scored 3 goals out there. I said, that man can play. I was pretty young at that point, and who knew this was going to happen? But when you look at what has happened to football in the United States, is, again, soccer in the United States. We seem to never call it that because we have a little bit of a conflict with another thing that's called football. But when you think about it, shouldn't it really be called? I mean, this is football. There's no question about it. We have to come up with another name for the NFL stuff.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make sense when you think about it. It is really football. But who would have thought it would have come to a level where you've set your all-time season ticket ratings? Nobody's ever sold as many tickets, and you're still a long way from that ball being kicked down the field. So I just want to congratulate you. What an incredible leap this has been, and congratulations to FIFA.
Thank you. Thank you, President. Big round of applause, and the best is still to come, of course. So let's start with the draw. I will just show you how it works. I've done a few of them. Don't be scared, right? So you have to basically mingle the balls a little bit. You can see, I show this for the public, you see. Mingle. And then, one by one, we start with Mr. Carney. You pick one. Wait. You open it. You see there is a little paper inside. You take out the paper, these two things, you can throw them in here. And then you can show to the public what you have drawn, which for me is FIFA, of course. I'm just the moderator. Mr. Carney, do you want to start?
I'm ready.
Don't forget, and pick the right ball, please. Already chosen. Okay, let's see which team will be drawn by Mr. Mark Carney. Oh, Canada! Oh, congratulations. Canada, ladies and gentlemen, the first team drawn in this World Cup. Group B1 for Canada, by the way. We can continue. Por favor, podemos seguir, Presidenta. Vamos a ver el sorteo más importante del mundo y vamos a ver cuál es el equipo.
¡Viva México!
¡México! ¡Felicidades! México, Grupo A1, Presidenta. Grupo A1 por México. Muchas felicidades. President Trump, up to you. Don't forget to mingle, to mix.
I think I know what this is going to be now.
Everything.
But let's see.
Are you sure? Are you sure this is the ball? You can still change it if you want.
Does he know something that I don't know? Let's give it a shot, John.
Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. I agree. Okay.
This is shocking.
United States of America. Excellent. Group D1. Can I ask all the three of you to lift like this on your chest, in front of your chest like this? Yeah, the name of the country. We'll give a nice photo. Excellent. And if I can ask you to come in front here for another photo with the paper, con el papelito, por favor. There, here where you can see the, voila, here for another photo so that everyone can see what you have drawn. Here we are. Thank you very much. Well done. Congratulations. Great assistance. If I may take a selfie with the three of you. Come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, I think the president is ready for those Kennedy Center honors to host that come Sunday, December 7th, with all of his practice there on the stage there at the Kennedy Center for a star-studded fun engagement to kick off FIFA 2026. Thank you to All Family Pharmacy, a great online pharmacy to protect you during the holiday season. It's a reminder of what matters most, family and friends, and getting together with our loved ones this Christmas season. In fact, the freedom to do so. Not everyone is as fortunate, and our Christian brothers and sisters throughout the world, if you look to Sierra Leone, to Nigeria, experiencing that genocide and racism as we speak. But we are still a free nation here in America, and we believe in the right to try. We believe in most favored nation status, and this online family pharmacy believes in it as well. With code RSBN10, RSBN10, off of life-saving medications like Tamiflu to antibiotics and antivirals. Also, ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, NAD+, methylene blue, 300 plus essential medications that are off-label and generic, or simply not at your pharmacy down the street. This is all part of protecting the things that matter most and also taking responsibility for your health. That is why I want to tell you about allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and why they're leading the way to have your online order reviewed by a U.S. doctor and sent to your door in just a matter of days, in time for all of the holiday festivities and the Christmas season. No red tape, no bureaucracy. If you don't have insurance, there's no problem at all. Just a pharmaceutical note needed, and they even will guide you if you need to talk to a specialist right there at allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. But take advantage now of these off-label generics, and you could travel with them as well. 10% off your must-needs for medication this holiday season. RSBN 10 is the gold and is the code. Scan that QR code now. Speaking of gold and the golden era, monetary gold, wealth, security, preservation. Grab that complimentary presidential gold guide today. 888-617-7994. Ask how you can eliminate the annual IRA fees permanently for life. Sometimes people don't want to look into gold and silver diversification because of those fees. Well, they could put a plan together that can waive that altogether if you qualify. RSBNforthegold.com. We have a serious situation, folks. We have two banks that failed this year, nearly 500 during the Obama administration. So what are you to do when paper money fails you? When the last 2 decades, the dollar has lost 40% of its purchasing power, or the BRICS nations, as we welcome 40 plus different nations and cultures and civilizations to North America. Some of those actors and the people that will be representing those countries are trying to divest from the American dollar. So gold and silver that have skyrocketed, gold up over $5,000 an ounce right now, silver not far behind at $60 per ounce. Worth looking into to diversify for that additional property, that purchasing of the first property, or even creating generational wealth for your family. RSBNforthegold.com is the go-to. They will walk you through a personalized plan. And like President Trump has said, what do you have to lose? This is the best company in the business. Monetary gold, it's wealth, security, preservation, all there for you. 888-617-7994, RSBNforthegold.com. If you like what you see with your go-to live desk, we do not edit what the politicians say. We bring you right to the speeches, right to the events, all the good, the bad, and the ugly within what's been quite a tumultuous year, but one that has given us a sense of relief ever since you put constitutional governance back into the White House last November. With the 45th and 47th President of the United States, your 50th Vice President, and the 119th Congress. We are taking on a legacy media that does not always see it the same way, and in many cases can be anti-American. Support us right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, rsbnetwork.com/donate, or text RSBN to 801-801. If you'd like the old school way of check or money order, 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, the loveliest village on the plains. It's Auburn, Alabama, 36830, 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344. Auburn, Alabama, 36830. We'd be honored to be part of your stocking stuffer and your charitable giving during this holiday season, as we wish you a season's greeting and a happy Advent season leading up into Hanukkah and Christmas. It truly is the most wonderful time of year, and we're honored to bring you unbridled access to this administration inside and outside of the Beltway on a very snowy day in the nation's Capitol. We had the chance to catch up with a dear friend, Driana Sixto. She is now at the Lincoln Media Foundation as the Spanish media director, and she gave us some access to what she does at home in Miami-Dade, Florida. She's been a large and vocal voice for the last decade plus on crucial issues from free speech to the Hispanic community and Latino communities who work so hard for family values. And speaking of soccer and football for the rest of the world, how exciting is it to have Miami, Florida, that is really not only growing, but becoming one of the premier cities in the United States. They love soccer down there, and I'm sure it will be a barn burner for 2026 in FIFA. We talked a little bit about that, but Mr. Director, that video is ready of Driana. She actually presented to Miami-Dade, and she's a very good example of not backing down, having the bravery to speak truth to power, especially to elected officials. And she's a personal friend and inspiration to me to make sure that you always have to go out there. And if there's even sneers and jeers, be not afraid. Make your truth be known, because we have free speech in this country, and it's always worth fighting for the truth.
Buenos dias. My name is Driana Sixto, and I strongly support this measure because Miami-Dade is exactly the kind of community that should host a presidential library. I'm a proud Latina American, meaning my allegiance is to this country and its laws, and I'm also a proud Miami-Dade Honors College alumna, class of 2014. I currently serve as a Spanish media director at the Lincoln Media Foundation, and I'm vice president of the Miami Young Republicans, but I'm here today representing only on behalf of myself. Miami is one of the most immigrant-rich major cities in America, with about 58% of our residents being foreign-born. This county was built by people who come from pretty much everywhere. We've rebuilt our lives, and immigrants powered the culture and economy that make Miami what it is today. And last year, November, this county voted for Donald J. Trump, earning over 51% of the vote, largely because immigrant families supported him. This presidential library isn't a partisan issue regardless. But let's address what some speakers in opposition to its creation have said today. The primary critique for it is the baseless claim that President Trump is anti-immigrant. What's funny and curious is how most of the people here claiming Trump is anti-immigrant are clearly not immigrants themselves. They're older white liberals, just facts, you know? Maybe they're trying to live out their white savior fantasy on behalf of communities they don't belong to and don't understand. The other anti-presidential library protesters seem to not even be legal permanent residents from what I've seen. Yikes, right?
Please address her. Please address her comments. Please address your comments to the board, not to participants.
The audacity to protest the tradition of a creation of a presidential library for the United States is insane. Meanwhile, most of the people speaking in favor of this measure today are legal immigrants or the children of legal immigrants. We're ethnically diverse, as you've seen here, and we don't need anyone speaking for us, so no gracias. If President Trump were anti-immigrant, Miami, this capital of immigrants, would not have voted for him, nor would he have nationally received the largest percentage of the Latino vote for any Republican in history. But beyond politics, this measure simply makes economic sense. A presidential library brings millions in annual tourism, hundreds of local jobs, major academic conferences, international visitors, and a permanent economic anchor for the surrounding neighborhoods, like other presidential libraries have done nationwide. If a presidential library is meant to tell the story of America, there is no better place than Miami-Dade County, because our story is the American story. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Rochelle Vargas.
Welcome back to RSBN's Live Desk. Driana Sixto, she's in a new role, Spanish Media Director at the Lincoln Media Foundation. Welcome back. Let's talk about these SNAP programs. We have Congresswoman Nancy Mace, the Palmetto State, wants to at least use legislation to target a developing story in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where ICE agents are on the ground. It looks as if Governor Tim Walz, the Attorney General of Minnesota as well, turned a blind eye to these benefits that were going to illegal alien Somalians. What say you, Driana?
Well, I think that every single dollar that is spent in fraud is a dollar that could be going to help an American family or to help a legal resident. So this is something that every single American should care about because one of two reasons. We're footing the bill as taxpayers, right, for every single benefit, every single subsidy, everything that is supposed to be a safety net for us if one day, God forbid, we fall on hard times, which people do sometimes. And that's what these programs are for. That's why they're there. So on the one hand, taxpayers should care about this because they're footing the bill. And on the other hand, those that actually do need these subsidies because they actually do qualify for them, they should care as well because it's money being taken away from that program. And we've seen from recent reports so much fraud and so much waste nationwide. It's not just in that state. What is kind of tricky is that unfortunately only certain states have agreed to hand over reports with the information of people in their state that they're qualifying for these programs to see if there is any fraud. And there's states that are simply saying no. And that's kind of weird. That is kind of odd. And I think that this affects the most vulnerable in our country. And this is money, again, that could be spent a lot more wisely. So I think that hopefully this law passes so that there is some kind of nationwide protection. Part of this suggestion also is that every single EBT card would have a photo identification on it. It's so important because that way only the person that is supposed to be receiving those benefits does so, and they can't be, sold as some people do for cash value. So there's just so much that needs to be done to try to put power back into the hands of the American people and put money back into our pockets that unfortunately for so much time has been completely wasted. So I'm glad about this.
And I think about the amount of times I use my ID on a daily basis for a variety of things, but it seems like with voting, it seems like with SNAP benefits now, in some states you don't have to do that. Although, as you mentioned, Secretary Brooke Rollins passing that directive back in February where 21 states are simply ignoring that. And what that means ultimately is that the fraud can exist, as you mentioned, Triana, and that mouths might not be fed, the most vulnerable in society, especially legal resident citizens of this great country of ours. Now, it seems as if President Trump has to get involved in some of the congressional battles, for lack of a better term, whether it be right, left, or center. And we have seen that with the NDAA. How do you see this, I guess, as we move into the midterms when it comes to messaging? Is affordability, is insurance cost, is that really on the top of people's minds? Because we notice from the Thanksgiving holiday, so many people traveling, so many people seemingly taking advantage of Black Friday deals and even being very generous with Giving Tuesday. So we're a consumer economy. It seems like people are spending their money.
Yeah, and obviously, I think at the top of everybody's list in terms of importance comes the economy. People vote based on how they are personally doing and feeling economically. They vote based on their pockets. But also, I think that the next agenda item is restoring trust in the government and making sure that we are being served by institutions that are there to protect us instead of having these institutions targeting anybody politically or in a biased way. So I think that this bill is something that people absolutely do care about because, yes, it should be public knowledge if the FBI is launching an investigation into any kind of political candidate for any kind of reason. The public should know about it. I think the same thing should apply to private citizens as well. I think that if the FBI is investigating me, I should absolutely know about it. And I think the same provisions should be afforded to everybody. That is kind of what this country was founded upon, in having the government serve us and not be there to target us. So yes, I think that a lot of people are going to vote in the midterms if they believe that their vote is worth it, if they believe that we have a functional country, a functional system. Or else people might think, oh, well, it's just simply not worth it. You know, the institutions there are just put there to target us based on their political biases. And so it doesn't really matter. So returning that trust to us, this is a very good way to start, so that at least we know that the FBI isn't targeting our political candidates. So, yeah.
And policymakers definitely have a great outline in the Bill of Rights. Our first 10 amendments addressed all of that as we fought a revolution over these very foundational civil rights, as I would see it. And it's almost very strange, Rihanna, how 250 years later, we're fighting some of those very same battles over private property, search and seizure, the right to a speedy trial. And that's why we need great advocates like you out there. And tell us about your new role. Congratulations, the Lincoln Media Group. What's it all about, especially as the Spanish media director? As far as I see it, anyone that has Driana Sixto in her corner, in their corner, is a good thing.
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, the Lincoln Media Foundation, it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to really getting messaging across that is non-biased, that is truthful to those in the community that are the most underserved. Unfortunately, a lot of us, to get our daily news, it comes to us without us even looking for it, via targeted ads sometimes, versus via what the algorithm wants us to see. And if we're really caring about politics and the news, then we might go towards certain sources to find that out. So I might go to Fox News if I want the news from a right-wing bias. I might go to CNN if I want the news from a left-wing bias. But a lot of people that are in the middle, they just don't do that, because they know that either side is gonna, lean to their side, and so they might just not be informed. And that's kind of where Lincoln Media Foundation fills in the gap. Is we want everybody to be informed so that they make the best decisions going forward. And we make sure that the people that most need to hear the truth do so. And so in my role as a Spanish media director, well, we know historically that there have been very limited options as to where Spanish-speaking residents in the U.S. can get their news from and stay informed. And of those limited sources, some might be extremely blatantly biased or partisan, or just sometimes deliver fake news. And that's not what we're here to do. So I am going to take an active role in making sure that we deliver coverage on what is the most important stuff happening right now in the country, and to those communities that deserve to be informed, because we need them, right? We need cohesiveness in the country so that we move forward in the best interest of this country and of ourselves, of the U.S. citizens and legal residents here. So our Hispanic American community in the U.S. is extremely large. We are a part of that. And so it is absolutely a valuable, important thing that they stay informed.
And a fantastic community getting more and more involved, I believe, in the daily aspect in the culture of American life. And especially you've been a big voice, a big leader in Miami-Dade County and the surrounding area in Southeast Florida. Tell us about how FIFA and soccer play a massive role in these peace negotiations and these deals, bringing the world together, perhaps even larger than the Olympics, as we saw today, President Trump receiving that inaugural peace award from FIFA's president at the Kennedy Center.
Yes. And I think that sports are definitely a huge part of our culture, right? In the U.S., obviously, I'd say the more popular one would be football, but especially within the Latino culture, everywhere around the world, eyes are on football or fútbol. what they would call American soccer. There's like a huge debate on the wording on that, but this definitely brings us together, and I think that this union, that this peace, basically honorary peace decorum that was given to President Trump shows kind of a bind between the Latin American community worldwide and the United States that has been very gracious in hosting a lot of their events, a lot of their matches. Miami-Dade County, right now hosts a soccer team, which has been kind of a recent development in recent years. There's a Miami soccer team that I still haven't been to a game yet because I haven't had the time to. But I think that this is a great way of, again, uniting the country in ways outside of politics. So I'm all here for it. I think Trump was very excited to receive that award as well, and I think this is great for our community too.
Well, I can tell you that Atlanta is ready to go. They're excited. Secretary Sean Duffy talking about it yesterday. We are ready to go to secure plane, train, automobile, and all those transportation hubs to make sure that New Jersey, Georgia, all the other host cities and states are safe, and throughout North America, where it will play host to FIFA 2026. So you might as well come up to Atlanta. We'll go to one of those games, or I'll come down to Miami, see some Miami soccer, because I know that the Mayor Suarez and the future hopeful mayor, very impassioned about the sport and what that will bring to the area.
Yeah, and well, speaking of that, I mean, just today, kicks off early voting for the mayoral race in Miami from the 5th to the 7th. And then the election day is on the 9th. So we're going to get a new mayor of Miami very soon, too. So lots of exciting stuff happening in South Florida. Lots of eyes on South Florida. I'd say, even though it feels sometimes like North Latin America, it also carries a strong heartbeat of the United States and what a melting pot it is too. So,
and President Trump throwing his hat in that race as well. And we know that the Trump endorsement, especially in Florida, can go a very, very long way. Well, Triana Sixto, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on RSBN and sharing your new role. And we look forward to seeing you again on the right side of history.
Thank you so much.
And breaking news here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, the Supreme Court will decide the legality of President Trump's executive order in regards to ending birthright citizenship. So we'll watch that closely. That's a question over the 14th Amendment. As it stands right now, this grants citizenship to anyone born within the United States. The argument coming from the executive order that this applied to those children born of former slaves coming into the ethos of the American government and then becoming citizens as a result of that after the Emancipation Proclamation and ultimately the terrible, bloody Civil War that we fought in the middle of the 19th century, in part to determine the freedom of people here in America, but mostly to remain united or not, and that question of secession finally answered from that terrible conflict. So we'll watch that very closely as we are watching the latest from the Trump White House, and we have a potential remarks from the Secretary of War. That's what you're looking at right there, Pete Hegseth, aboard that airplane, and we might be able to take you there just moments from now. And we know that Mr. Hegseth being in the news a lot, right, left of center this week in regards to these boat strikes, and another one being declassified by the Trump administration just hours ago. It's at 20 plus right now. And the perspective that I have on it constitutionally is I happen to agree that Article 2 is very laid out in the powers and the role of the President of the United States as the civilian commander-in-chief of this army and taking certain strides to protect the homeland. My question is, for those Democrats who are trying to make this into a media hoopla, where were you during the Bush administration, and especially during the Obama administration, when drone strikes were happening, when the Patriot Act was enacted, thanks to both parties, quite frankly, Republican and Democrat in the Congress. But that really creeped in on civil rights in America. So not only abroad, but domestically. We know that the Obama administration authored a strike on a U.S. citizen who was fighting for the Taliban. Let's take that live there now to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. Thank you to Kalshi.com/RSBN, where you can trade and bet on the biggest questions in the United States of America. Who will President Trump pardon this year? Is it Peng Zhao or Roger Ver? Perhaps Steve Bannon? Will Bitcoin hit the 150,000 mark before March Madness? Will my Chicago Bears make it to the Super Bowl? I sure hope so. They're number one right now on the NFC side. But those Lions, they are clawing back and fighting hard. Now 8-5 in the NFC North, so not far behind as they defeated the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys last night. That tie with the most vile of teams, the Green Bay Packers. And I'm only joking in jest because I admire them, but we sure love to hate them as Chicago Bears fans. So all of those questions on sports, music, culture, and more, politics, it's the American story right there at Kalshi.com/RSBN. You might as well trade and bet on it, as we also thank AngelPaste.com. The Vitamin B Miracle Cream, I use it every day, especially when I get the dry skin. And this time of year, it's really something that happens a lot, although you can use it year-round. And the orange option with vitamin C infused, non-GMO, no chemical as well, to the facial spray to paint the town red on a Friday night like December 5th. Experience the miracle that is AngelPaste.com out of Spring, Texas. They are Christian-owned, they hire veterans, and they love America just as much as we do, just as much as you do. So why not buy American and buy freedom-loving patriot products that you can receive at angelpaste.com. Also, covepure.com/RSBN. So much to say about this reverse osmosis system with their Clearwave technology, removing 99.9% of the impurities out of the tap water. And what you see is what you get. It's no larger than your coffee machine at home. There's no use for the drilling of holes and putting the tubes in and making a mess and then hiding it from everything else that might be on your counter. As you can see there, the temperature change can be rather quick. So if you're a big tea drinker, a great way to get that hot water immediately instead of steeping it on the kitchen stove. Also, JAMA Pediatrics putting out a study of children, students mostly, drinking out of the tap water, something kids love to do at times, especially during the summer festivities and drinking out of the hose. God knows the little ones in my family love to do that. Here's the problem. They can lose up to 2 points or more in their IQ. And after all that COVID learning loss just a few short years ago, our nation cannot suffer any more of that. So how do we get away from that? Drink pure, live pure, protect what matters most with a holiday sale unlike any other at covepure.com/RSBN. $250 off right now. And what's great about this product is that if there's someone in your family that's hard to buy for, I have a couple of those, this is a great go-to. This is the kind of gift where you open it up and say, wow, thank you. You care about me. You care about my family, and I can actually use this. It will not be returned. something that is really needed in this day and age with all the junk that's out there. This is a high quality product, as you can see from the video. covepure.com/RSBN. Get rid of the fluoride, the pesticides, the agricultural runoff at covepure.com/RSBN. As we await the latest from the Trump White House and perhaps some comments from the Secretary of War. We're staying on that, whether it is the federal city there in Washington, D.C., to sunshiny Long Beach, California, where Pete Hegseth is currently meeting with military and staff. We'll take a quick commercial break for sponsors. Stick with us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. You are on the right side of history.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Every once in a while, something big happens. Something that changes everything. And now, in a defining moment for crypto, Trump Media Group and Crypto.com are joining forces to acquire up to $6.4 billion of CRO, launching America's first ever CRO treasury, empowering the Kronos blockchain. This is more than a partnership. It's the future of finance built in America. For more, visit Crypto.com, where millions trade CRO every day.
Tired of being told no by your doctor, your pharmacy, or worse, your insurance company? You're not alone. Millions of Americans are waking up to a broken healthcare system. That's why more and more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. We believe in medical freedom. We deliver the prescription and the medication, all from licensed U.S. doctors and pharmacists, from ivermectin and trusted antibiotics to maintenance medications, even NAD+, the revolutionary anti-aging supplement. Use code RSBN10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network as we cover the latest from the Trump White House and a slew of truths from President Trump from the White House as well. We can go from number 13, Mr. Director, as this president clearly displaying peace and being the peace in chief, the commander in chief that is focused on the peace through strength mantra of America First and MAGA. It's more than one person that has clearly been shown in this administration, and talking to friends and foes in order to make America great again, safe again, and in turn, the whole world has peace.
In this holy season, we prepare to celebrate the birth of the Prince of Peace. We have come to the U.S. Institute of Peace to sign a historic agreement that will end one of the longest-running conflicts anywhere in the world. Today, we commit to stopping decades of violence and bloodshed and to begin a new era of harmony and cooperation between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. I have a lot of confidence in both leaders. We'll keep these commitments. I know they're going to keep them and follow through on the agreement and create a much brighter future for the people of their countries.
These accords provide everything needed to end this conflict once and for all.
These Washington agreements for peace and prosperity must be for our peoples a symbol of an irreversible commitment to turn the page of confrontations and to open a new era of cooperation and sustainable peace throughout the region.
the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of Rwanda battling for generations, for years, in fact, and the loss of millions of lives, coming to peace terms in what is perhaps the most successful peace negotiations post-World War II. We do know that it was the bloodiest conflict with so much sectarian violence and tribal warfare leading to the innocent being slaughtered, and President Trump helping to bring that to an end. And shortly thereafter, addressing the national media and those in attendance to celebrate the National Christmas Tree lighting this week with the First Lady as well, with cut number 15, President Trump reminding us really the reason for the season.
So the First Lady is going to do the honors, and we're going to do a countdown. We'll go from 5 to 0, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, it's not necessarily new news by any means to know that there is media bias throughout the country, and the White House is making sure that it gets called out. Not only is there unbridled access for all media, right, left, and center, legacy and new, in order to have daily press conferences literally with this president, whether it be from the James S. Brady briefing room and the official press briefings with the superstar Caroline Leavitt to the Oval Office, to the Roosevelt Room. And after almost every single briefing or speech, President Trump saying or asking for any questions in the room. And it usually extends the event. But the White House putting out a channel now so that media bias can be called out in order to share the truth with all Americans. With cut number 14, a media bias video as we look to set the record straight on the right side of history. A great example of that happened to be Fake Jake at CNN, as the White House showed with cut number 17 that this alleged pipe bomber from January 5th of 2021, he is a black man by the picture. You could see that, but they said he's a white man.
Ryan Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction.
So just an example of that. Of course, we're humans. We make mistakes, but that's one that's rather easy to see that was not the case, and the media bias that does exist in this country. Visit the website wh.gov/media bias, and the White House really working on this in order to get those real stories out there. So if you see anything that might be a media bias and misleading, you can reach out to the White House right there, coupled with the White House Rapid Response account on X. Again, wh.gov/media bias, as we thank our dear friends over at All Family Pharmacy, as the season reminds us about what matters most: faith, family, freedom, and the important things. But we gather for travel and with those wonderful people in our lives, and sometimes our health becomes at risk because it's just the cold and flu season that's going around. So 10% off your must-haves for medications this Hanukkah and Christmas season. Use code RSBN10, RSBN10, Tamiflu, antibiotics, antivirals, ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, NAD+, methylene blue, and much, much more. In fact, over 300 plus licensed medications from a licensed U.S. doctor to review your order. It shows up to your door in days, and you don't even need insurance. Just a pharmaceutical note that will cover you. Whether, again, you're looking for the medications that can take care of you in a bind, especially during flu season, especially that Tamiflu, All Family Pharmacy has you covered. It's fast, it's private, it's secure, and they want you to try. They believe in the right to try and most favored nation status, as Health and Human Services does, as this administration does, so that you have access to life-saving prescriptions that are over-the-counter, that are generic, that might not necessarily be prescribed at your pharmacy down the street. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Getting the job done for you today with 10% off. RSBN 10, RSBN 10. Scan that QR code now for a great stocking stuffer that can lead to literally saving your health and saving your life during the holiday season. Thank you to Monetary Gold for wealth and preservation securities. Call today. Do not delay. It's 888-617-7994. Another great stocking stuffer, the Presidential Gold Guide. It's complimentary, so just look through it and see if you have any options or any questions in regards to gold and silver. Tangible metals you can hold in your hand. They're skyrocketing right now in a bull market. It's RSBN4thegold.com, RSBN4thegold.com. Something that can be quite useful. And if you're a parent out there or a grandparent, you are very generous to perhaps prepare a plan for the younger ones in your family. And you could do that this holiday season. Not every plan, no two plans fit the same shoe. And it's great to look at all of those options, whether it's buying that first property or creating generational wealth in your family. Monetary Gold is there for the win. RSBN4thegold.com. Good people who will guide you through this, experts on this very topic when it comes to diversification of your savings, your retirement, your pensions, everything that you worked hard for. Again, we've lost purchasing power in this country with the dollar, going down 40% in the last 2 decades. And there's BRICS nations out there who, some are foes, some are friends, and some are trying to divest from the American dollar that was the world's currency and standard post-World War II. The world is changing rather rapidly, so prepare yourself as banks continue to fail across the country. And look at the central banks around the world. They're buying gold and silver. You might want to borrow one of their plays from the playbook. RSBN4thegold.com. Thank you to Monetary Gold for sponsoring us on the right side of history as we cover the latest news from the Trump White House and breaking news as well from yesterday. SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, upholding the new Texas map. So that changes a few things and does not necessarily guarantee, but helps create 5 more very Republican districts in the Lone Star State, and in turn actually eliminates Jasmine Crockett's current structure of her district. So she's fiddled and talked about the possibility of running for the U.S. Senate statewide. That should be extraordinarily entertaining to watch all of that, as she confused on the House floor a number of Republican or right-leaning groups from yesteryear to present day, and perhaps even those in the future. She is almost like the ghost of Christmas past. Well, actually, when I think about that, maybe the ghost of Christmas future. They were all coming to warn Scrooge of what was imminent doom if he did not change his ways, but she does not necessarily come with the same kind of optimism that we find with the ghosts in the Christmas Carol, as she was blaming her fellow colleagues on the House floor about Dr. Jeffrey Epstein mixing up someone else's name in New York City with the late convicted child molester. Extraordinary that her office would not catch that, and I think a few people might have a libel lawsuit, whether it's the George W. Bush Foundation, to even people like Mitt Romney, to the current office holders who she accused of being associated with the individual when they never were, per the emails, per the footage that we all have now released from the House and the Senate, and then ordered by the President of the United States to release those very documents. But it's an amazing thing how some people get to Congress, some of them incredible resumes and are some of the sharpest crayons in the box, but something did not work out for Miss Crockett many years ago, and she has continued to cradle this very extreme far-left radical view, and we'll see if she can continue to hold office with those new maps drawn. But as it stands right now, per the Supreme Court, her district has been drawn out, and perhaps she will take a stab at the United States Senate. As we look forward to the 2026 midterms, it's sure to be one that's going to be for the memory books, as this president and the vice president committing to really going on the road. We'll see that next week in Pennsylvania. They have hit the ground hard even this year, going to manufacturing plants, going to places not far from here. In fact, in Alabama, where the tariffs have really been beneficial to a number of ma and pa small businesses, especially in the welding fields and manufacturing, steel, car infrastructure, and Toyota, Hyundai, really making a massive difference and building major plants throughout Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, into South Carolina, and of course the OG of car development itself, the Motor City. Detroit, Rock City, having a comeback since President Trump first got into office. One of the highlights of this year, that 100 days celebration just outside of Detroit, Michigan, that we enjoyed in late April, as that was actually one of the colder days on record this year, but a pleasure to travel up north always as we cover the latest inside and outside of the Beltway. We are at 3:30 Eastern, the bottom of the hour. We might have some more comments from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and other members of the administration. In the meantime, we'll take a quick commercial break for sponsors. Stick with us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Every once in a while, something big happens, something that changes everything. And now, in a defining moment for crypto, Trump Media Group and Crypto.com are joining forces to acquire up to $6.4 billion of CRO, launching America's first ever CRO treasury, empowering the Kronos blockchain. This is more than a partnership. It's the future of finance built in America. For more, visit Crypto.com, where millions trade CRO every day.
Tired of being told no by your doctor, your pharmacy, or worse, your insurance company? You're not alone. Millions of Americans are waking up to a broken healthcare system. That's why more and more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. We believe in medical freedom. We deliver the prescription and the medication, all from licensed U.S. doctors and pharmacists, from ivermectin and trusted antibiotics to maintenance medications, even NAD+, the revolutionary anti-aging supplement. Use code RSBN10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to RSBN. I would like to know from you, the viewers, feedback at rsbn.tv, feedback at rsbn.tv. Would you purchase a tiny car? as President Trump met with many car executives and congressmen this week in the Oval Office. I have just approved tiny cars to be built in America. Manufacturers have long wanted to do this, just like they are so successfully built in other countries. They could be propelled by gasoline, electric, or hybrid. And these cars of the very near future are inexpensive, safe, fuel efficient, and quite simply amazing. Start building them now. Thank you to the Department of Justice and Departments of Transportation and Environment. Enjoy. President Donald J. Trump. So would you buy a tiny car? They're American made. Let's see what happens in this golden era. With number one, the Democrat agenda, Mr. Producer, is out of control as they attempt to court pack. The Democrats' number one policy push is the complete and total obliteration of our great United States Supreme Court. They will do this on their way. Very first day in office through the simple termination of the filibuster should they win the upcoming elections. The radical left Democrats are looking at 21 justices with immediate ascension. This would be terrible for our country. Fear not, however, Republicans will not let it or any of their catastrophic policies happen. Our country is now in very good hands. Make America great again. And this is a side note, but that 21 number is what they wanted to fulfill dating back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt wanted to do the exact same thing with packing the court. And it was something attempted then by LBJ and by the auto pen. Those three saw themselves as the New Deal Democrats, as the Democrats who wanted to create a great society with government controlling virtually everything, especially from the federal government. God forbid something like that would happen. And the late, I'll call her great, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, as President Trump very much respected her. They might have had some different ideological issues, but she said the idea of that's been null and void. That's done. It's 9 people. 9 is a good number. So even a very liberal lioness known as Ruth Bader Ginsburg believed that 9 was a good number on the Supreme Court of the land. Thank you to mypillow.com/RSBN. Merry Christmas. Save up to 80%, 80 this holiday with code RSBN. mypillow.com/RSBN. Support Mike Lindell, a dear friend of the network, by shopping now at mypillow.com/RSBN. You have 2,000 different options. And now with the master marketer, as President Trump puts it, with Mike, he has put out some high-quality products made right here in America. The MyPillow 1.0, the MyPillow 2.0, the Christmas Bible scenes for the kiddos, those pillows to remind them of those incredible stories, the adventures of our forefathers in faith and our Jewish brothers and sisters, especially Exodus, leaving Egypt for the promised land. These stories relate to us thousands of years later, as they did in those biblical times. And we know how Mike Lindell, his story has inspired countless. And we'll actually hear from him later on today after we do our broadcast here. Let not your heart be troubled. We will have a special edition of The Voice of Reason featuring Mr. Mike Lindell. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, mypillow.com/RSBN. Grab some My Coffee and some My Slippers as well. Some of the best in the business. And Kalshi.com/RSBN. Who will the next pardon be for President Trump? We know that Democrat Henry Cuellar receiving just that for being targeted by his own party, quite frankly, because he was a pro-security, pro-secure border Democrat along that Texas-Mexican border. But will Steve Bannon, Roger Ver, Chang-Peng Zhao be some on the list? Even Stephen A. Smith, our dear friend over at ESPN, he was applauding President Trump for pardoning Henry Cuellar and saying you need to see more of that bipartisan action. But we know here at the network, it's not so much Republican versus Democrat, but more we the people versus the bureaucratic elites who want to run every aspect of your life. Well, Bitcoin hit 150,000 before March Madness. Scan that QR code now, Kalshi.com/RSBN. Will my Chicago Bears win the Super Bowl? I want to get ahead of myself. Let's get 10-3 first and beat the Packers on Sunday. But it's politics, music, and more. Just about everything in the American ethos for you to trade on Kalshi, or right at Kalshi.com/RSBN. We are known as the Rally Network, but the last year, your go-to live desk, bringing you unbridled access to your 45th and 47th President of the United States, the 50th Vice President, the 119th Congress, and inside and outside of the federal city. Support us right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's rsbnetwork.com/donate or text RSBN to 801-801. You may also send a check or money order to 1550. It's 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, the loveliest village on the entire plains. And that's Auburn, Alabama, 36830. As the students study overtime for finals, it's a little bit quiet now in town with all that rain and all the studying taking place as we cover the latest news from the Trump White House. If we get any comments from the Secretary of War, who is in Long Beach, California as well, we'll take you there live for that today on this Friday, December 5th, 2025. Andrew Wolf's family joined President Trump in the Oval Office, and we have a picture of that from Truth Social. He is the 24-year-old National Guard member who was shot along with his colleague who lost her life at 20 years young. Just a terrible tragedy over the Thanksgiving holiday. Mayor Muriel Bowser and FBI Director Kash Patel were on the scene with law enforcement when that did happen. But with cut number 2, Andrew Wolf's family joining President Trump in the White House. Also, First Lady Melania Trump, and that is the mom and dad and brother of Andrew Wolf, as he will recover. But it's been quite a process after a terrorist attack occurring right in the heart of the District of Columbia, only a couple of blocks from the White House, where many of our friends commute on a daily basis, whether they are in media or otherwise working in the federal city. As President Trump mentioning our wonderful National Guardsman who was brutally injured protecting us on the Capitol of the United States of America. He is in the process of healing, and his parents, brother, and all of his friends are praying. And happy to have them in the Oval Office. They are fantastic American patriots. So President Trump taking that time to meet with the Wolf family, as this president does not back down. Some people say, well, it's not my cup of tea. I normally just tell them to get over it, because this guy knows how to fight back. President Trump is a Queens street fighter. Of course, it's peacefully and patriotically mentioning that, but I know a few folks from New York, good friends from the Big Apple, and many of them have told me growing up there, we love President Trump because he's a boy from Queens. It's how they are. They talk bold, sometimes brashly, but they don't back down, and they stand up for those who they care about. With cut number 3, President Trump reminding us of the good old days with civil rights icons. Well, I would call President Trump a civil rights icon, but long before Reverend Al Sharpton had massive stomach surgery, he would do anything to be with me, but he has to be faithful to the radical left in order to keep his job as a television commentator for NBC. Also in the group, the great James Brown. I knew them all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's Jesse Jackson in there as well. The Reverend, who I've heard from my Chicago friends as well, that he has been in some poor health, so our prayers are definitely with the great Reverend Jesse Jackson, who has at times been on the right side of history, who has been pro-life at times, but it's been really a massive change since the 1980s of the Democrat Party and how far left they have moved on a variety of issues, especially that on the right to life. But President Trump, before everyone would shoo out the reverends and say, no, don't come here, we don't want to get involved in these controversial issues like hiring more minorities at their companies, who was there putting his neck out on the line and the Trump organization? Donald John Trump himself. And the proof is in the pudding, from countless testimonies to not only photos, but what he actually did, hiring people and giving them a shot, especially the 1992 story of Mar-a-Lago. So shortly after President Trump kicked out Jeffrey Epstein, the real Jeffrey Epstein, not according to Crockett, out of Mar-a-Lago for abusing his employees and fondling them, President Trump also invited Black and Jewish people to be members at his club, something that wasn't happening in Palm Beach, Florida. It was very much still a Dixiecrat town, and that has changed now, thanks be to God, but racism was on full display in many nightclubs and private clubs throughout Southeast Florida. And Donald Trump opening doors to those who are discriminated against simply because of their religious or cultural heritage. So for those out there that would claim that this man is anything but charitable and anything but someone who has fought for civil rights for a number of years, especially in the business world, they just don't know what the heck they're talking about. And cut number 4, Mr. Producer, President Trump diving into a little bit of a history lesson, which we know we like to take those different angles here at the network. But a century ago, President Trump sharing the Geiger Capitol talk about the Immigration Act of 1924 from President Calvin Coolidge, a hero, 30th president of the United States for many modern conservatives and one of the finest presidents in American history. But history sometimes forgets about how good he was because the country was doing so well because of his policies. He stated plainly, new arrivals, this is Calvin Coolidge, the 30th president, should be limited to their own capacity or our own capacity to absorb them. America must be kept American. For this purpose, it is now necessary to enact a policy of restricted immigration. In other words, assimilation is a good thing. Legal immigration. The 1924 Act passed the House and the Senate with overwhelming support. Democrats and Republicans actually agreed on this. The bill introduced tight immigration quotas, new visa requirements, the Border Patrol, and outright banned immigrants from certain countries that we viewed as incompatible with our culture. President Trump saying it's time for another immigration act to happen, and it might have to because there's paid agitators and those who simply refuse to assimilate. And this is footage coming from North Carolina, the Tar Heel state, a great place to live. Actually, I got to be honest, it was my favorite swing state to visit. And don't tell my friends in Georgia because that's where is my adopted home. But I just love the hospitality of the Tar Heel state and how gorgeous it is. But this happened just the other night with a bunch of crazies out there causing mayhem and chaos in the streets of North Carolina. But we know that if you've ever picked up the book Rules for Radicals, you can study Saul Alinsky and George Soros and his son Alex Soros amongst those radicals, including Bill Ayers. You remember Bill Ayers? You have the left that's so up in arms. I was flipping networks last night about January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, and somehow trying to relate the pipe bomb incident to that and ultimately to MAGA, which is just bizarre as this investigation continues to unfold about this individual that did place those bombs, now in the custody of a Republican Department of Justice, where 4 years or so went by and it was roughly a cold case. We see how Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Jeanine Pirro, all working overtime in their capacities to make America safe again. But Bill Ayers, he was actually from my hometown outside of Chicago, and he was a founder of the Weather Underground, and they retreated into the campus life really in the 70s and even in the 80s, becoming somewhat of recluse from regular society after they literally bombed the Capitol, and Jimmy Carter pardoned them. It's a little-known story. It's interesting to see why domestic terrorists would be pardoned by a Democrat president and have even more leniency later on in some of their cases, thanks to President Bill Clinton in the 1990s. But I'll let you look up those stories, and perhaps we'll have a special on that on the Voice of Reason as part of our ongoing programming here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. But with the new SCOTUS ruling on the Texas maps, we have some new endorsements coming in from President Trump upcoming into 2026 with cut number 7. Mr. Goldman will be running for office in the Lone Star State. Congressman Craig Goldman is an incredible representative of Texas's 12th Congressional District, a fifth-generation Texan. Craig served as a state representative for 12 years prior to becoming a distinguished and highly respected congressman. Now, in Congress, he is fighting tirelessly to champion our great farmers and our American agriculture, cut taxes and regulations, advance American energy dominance, protect and promote Made in the USA, keep our now very secure border secure, stop migrant crime, strengthen our military, veterans, and protect our always under siege Second Amendment. Craig Goldman has my complete and total endorsement. He will not let you down. That's from the President of the United States. Continuing with number 8, Mr. Morin receiving that endorsement. Nathaniel Morin doing a fantastic job in Congress, representing the great people of Texas's 1st Congressional District. Nathaniel has an incredible record of success and strong support from his community. In Congress, he is working tirelessly to grow our economy, cut taxes and regulations, promote Made in the USA, support our amazing farmers and ranchers, ensure American energy dominance, keep our now very secure border secure, stop migrant crime, champion our brave military and veterans, and protect our always under siege Second Amendment. Nathaniel Morin has my complete and total endorsement. He will not let you down. Into cut number 9. And the cloud endorsement for Texas's 27th Congressional District. As a member of the powerful House Appropriations Committee, Michael is fighting hard to grow our economy and cut taxes and regulations, promote the Made in the USA, securing our border from migrant crime, and supporting, of course, our brave military and veterans, and defending the always under siege Second Amendment. Michael Cloud has my complete and total endorsement, and he will not let you down. It continues with cut number 10, Congressman Randy Weber doing a fantastic job representing the wonderful people of Texas's 14th Congressional District. A successful businessman, Randy knows the America First agenda and the policies necessary to create great jobs, unleash innovation, and the entire American energy dominance, fighting tirelessly to cut taxes and regulations, and the Made in the USA, something that has expanded the Republican Party. There's no question about that. Keeping our nation and our border secure, supporting our brave military and veterans, and again, yes, protecting that always under siege Second Amendment. Randy Weber has my complete and total endorsement. To Mr. Carter, the endorsement there in the Lone Star State in Texas. John Judge Carter, as he's known, is a fantastic representative for the great people of Texas's 31st Congressional District. Judge served over 20 years as a district court judge in Williamson County prior to becoming a very distinguished and respected United States congressman, working tirelessly to grow our economy and cut taxes and regulations, promoting Made in the USA, securing our borders, and championing American energy dominance, keeping our border secure. It has to be a secure entity, stopping migrant crime, murderers, and other criminals from illegally entering our country, and strengthening our military and veterans, defending the always under siege Second Amendment, and of course, Judge Carter having President Trump's complete and total endorsement. He will never let you down. Now, with cut number 12, a new Nels perhaps will be in Congress. It is my pleasure and honor to endorse MAGA warrior Trevor Nels, who is running to represent the incredible people of Texas's 22nd District. Trevor's brother is the great congressman from Texas, Troy Nels, and he and his family are fierce advocates for our movement to make America great again. As a former Fort Bend County constable and retired United States Army colonel, Trevor strongly supports our incredible law enforcement, military, and veterans, and knows about the wisdom and courage it takes to ensure law and order in this country. In Congress, Trevor will work hard to keep our very secure border safe, secure, stop migrant crime, grow the economy, cut taxes and regulations, promote Made in the USA, advance American energy dominance, champion election integrity, and defend our always under siege Second Amendment. Trevor Nails has my complete and total endorsement. He will never let you down. And congratulations to these congressmen and some of these folks who seek to serve you from Texas in the United States House of Representatives. Thank you to All Family Pharmacy for sponsoring us here at the network. The holidays are here. It's a time to celebrate family, friends, football fun, and so much more. It's the season that keeps on giving, but it's also cold and flu time, and that low-level strain of COVID and other things out there. Protect what matters most with allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. And the freedoms we cherish can be threatened if people are traveling and getting sick. That's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. It's 10% off right now, code RSBN10 for all of these life-saving medications. Over 300, in fact, from Tamiflu to antibiotics, ivermectin, NAD+, methylene blue, and much, much more. Again, over 300 essential medications that you can have in your medicine cabinet or brought with you on your family vacations. Very easy to do. Better to be prepared now than simply get caught at the last minute. Whether you need ivermectin or the emergency medical kits or anything in between, we want to have you all stocked up with your daily maintenance medications. And this online pharmacy believes in the right to try, most favored nation status, as well as the administration believing in freedom of choice and receiving generics that are off-label, that are affordable, instead of going to the pharmacy down the street that might not even prescribe things like ivermectin that has been on the market for the last half century, if not longer, approved by the FDA, but some would make you think otherwise. Take care of yourself and your family this holiday season. A U.S. licensed doctor reviews your order, and it comes to your door just days away from that order. Code RSBN10 right now for 10% off. Scan that QR code and make sure it is a very Merry Christmas. It always is. But it's nice to not be sick during the holiday season. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. And speaking of no red tape and breaking down boundaries and barriers, Monetary Gold doing the same for your financial health. With wealth security preservation, grab that complimentary presidential gold guide today, 888-617-7994. Ask how you can eliminate those annual IRA fees permanently for life. RSBN for the gold, RSBNforthegold.com. So you look at this, BRICS nations divesting from the American dollar. The last 2 decades, the American dollar going down in purchasing power by over 40%. 2 banks failing this year, nearly 500 failing during the Barack Hussein Obama administration. And granted, not because of all of his horrendous policies, but a lot of that. Remember how stagnant the economy was? It was like we were walking on eggshells during the Obama administration, and a lot of banks closed doors as a result. But also look at the central banks around the world. What are they doing? They're buying gold and silver because gold and silver, once again, enjoying that bull market and a spike ever since January 20th when President Trump took the oath of office. So no 2 plans look the same. Call today. Do not delay. Ask how you can eliminate those IRA fees permanently. Don't let that stop you from diversifying your accounts, your savings, retirement pensions, so that you could create that generational wealth, so you could buy that first or second property, all there for you at Monetary Gold. RSBNforthegold.com, 888-617-7994. Thank you for your sponsorship on the right side of history. As we've been covering the latest from the Trump White House inside and outside of the Beltway for the last 2 hours. If you would like to donate to your go-to live desk and a rally network unlike any other to bring you unbridled access to your 45th and 47th President of the United States, your 50th Vice President, and the 119th Congress. Support us right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, rsbnetwork.com/donate, or text RSBN to 801801. We also have a hard address to send that check and money order to, 1550, that's 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344 in the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn, Alabama, 36830, as we're looking forward to March Madness and really a new coaching staff across basketball, football, and some other sports as the Tigers continue to pursue excellency in the upcoming year of 2026. If you'd like to subscribe as well, get all America First updates and exclusive offers right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. There you can find the written word, amazing authors, and opinion editorials right here at the network. And we won't bug you too much. You'll get some alerts about our different broadcasts coming on, but then you could stay in the loop of everything. As today is a very special day, this Friday, December 5th, a special content for the Voice of Reason coming up in roughly 15 minutes. So let not your heart be troubled before you get your holiday weekend started, as I know many of you very busy. I'm sure you have many Christmas walks and celebrations in your neck of the woods. And I hope I could be with you during that time, but we'll enjoy some of the festivities on this evening here in Auburn, Alabama. But again, all America First updates and exclusive offers at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. For all of my colleagues here on the right side of history, you have a wonderful weekend. America will be with you to cover everything inside and outside the Beltway. And stick with us in 15 minutes, The Voice of Reason featuring Mr. Mike Lindell with maybe a very special announcement. I'll let that episode play for you. And as we bid you adieu and ask for God's blessings this weekend in the Advent season, we salute you with a send-off, the 45-second walk. It's President Trump and the First Lady Melania Trump achieving great things this past week.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interviewed the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.